Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am back to put together this deconstructed Christmas panel that you watched me cut up in a previous video. I will link to that video down below. It was a panel where all the blocks were butt up against each other, not necessarily meant to be cut up, but I cut it up. And I have a whole bunch of blocks, and I have been breaking my brain trying to figure out the best way to do this, and I think I figured it out. First of all, I wanted to tell you that when I left you last time, I had a little strip of fabric that had these little pinwheels, and it was one strip, and I had cut those, I believe on camera, into 4, but then I had another strip that was like this, and I noticed that they were 2 inches also. So I cut all of that into 2-inch squares. I think I ended up with 17 2-inch squares total, and I'm going to work those back into the quilt. I thought it would be really cool to have some of these big blocks with some little tiny blocks. Here's how I decided to do this. I measured my widest piece, and it was 14 inches across. And then I measured my tallest piece, and it was 12 inches tall. So I thought, I'm going to make blocks that are all 14 by 12. And I came up with this very rough draft on online, like grid paper kind of thing. And it's Pixel Art Studio, I think. I'll link to it down below. And I just created some 14 by 12 inch blocks. I made 12 of them, and then I measured all the blocks I have, and I somehow fit them into each big block. Now some of them will need a lot of filler, and that's okay. Like this one only has 3 little pieces, and in the spaces that are blank, oh, and I have blueberry fingers, it's not marker. Blueberries for my mother. I am going to be filling some of the blank spots with other fabric or other blocks that I create. Like I could create a couple little half square triangles and whatever I want. So I like that. It gives me room to do some of my own things. For instance, somewhere I did make a little 4-patch that's going to go with this tall piece. This is my tallest piece, and I have this that's going to go in that block, and this. I had made room for 2 of these guys, and I decided to cut. This is fabric that is cut from this leftover fabric that was the border for the panel. So I'm going to try to use all of this. I even have these scraps that I might tuck in there. This one, I wasn't about to cut that one into like what looks like 1-inch squares. I'm leaving it like that. And then I have this narrow piece. So I'm going to start putting my blocks together, and I will be filling each one up with other fabrics so that they all end up being 14 inches wide by 12 inches tall. Does that make sense? I think it does. Let's get started. This is what I just did. This is 14 by 12. I put some electrical tape down so that I know, without having to be careful, that this is the space that needs to be filled. For instance, this block is going to have just this guy and these guys. Now, even though I had a plan for it somewhere, probably this one, I just did this to see if I could make things fit and if I had enough to fill those spaces, but I'm not going to necessarily follow any of this, and I'm also not, going to keep them in this order. So I can do whatever I want with this one. All I know is when it's trimmed, and I can use the other side to cut, so I won't be cutting into my tape. I can just now design each block. I think I'm gonna really like doing this. Very creative, I think. Don't you think? And I do want some places where there'll be like very narrow fillers, because I like the small stuff. And then bigger. Now, some of the blocks two of them actually will be right up against the edge and won't have another fabric on the side, but that's okay because when it's put together with something else, there will be fabric separating it. I will make sure of that. I don't want like this block butt up against another block. So this doesn't really need too much filler. I think I can get away with, you know, just, I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll put it together and I'll show you. And as seen in the previous video, these are the prints I plan on using. It's mostly going to be just, you know, to create borders around each block to make them big enough to fill that big space. And I think just to save time and not have to do a whole bunch of measuring, I might cut some like 1.5 inch strips, some 2.5 inch strips, some 3.5 inch strips, and then it'll give me some pre-cut strips that I can use depending on what size I need. I ended up cutting some 1 inch strips, 2 inch strips, and 3 inch strips of each of the prints that I have. Plus I have these strips and these little strips that I really am going to try to use. All it would leave me with for scraps, if I use it all, the selvages and these little baby scraps. I think I'll be okay if this is all that's left of that fabric panel and this. With various strips cut like that, I thought it might help me to plan what I feel like doing. Like I could take a, you know, a strip and just lay it down next to this, or, you know, stuff like that. This one doesn't, you know, give me too much wiggle room, but I could do like a narrow strip there and maybe a narrow strip here. Maybe I can cut a little block to go there and just slap it all together. I think this is going to be super fun. I feel like I have been working on this for a month. It has only been a week. I know you couldn't see that I was using this, but I absolutely used this. It came in so handy. When I'd start to build the block, I could, you know, lay it down and say, okay, I need about 2 more inches at the top, which means like I'd use a 3-inch strip, so because I'm going to lose the seam allowance, and then, you know, so it gave me enough room to trim. So I really liked using that. I want to show you that on 2 of the blocks I did something cute. Look, I added a little wonky tree, my own little wonky tree. I did lose the tippity top of the tree because I forgot how to make wonky trees, but I did that. And then I was starting to gather some crumbs, so I made a sweet little crumb block, and those were made with tiny crumbs. Some of the crumbs were so tiny that I was like, how do I hold it? And it was fun. So I put those little signature things in there. Now I'm going to just slap these together. Oh, lighting is weird. Might be better. I'm not putting anything between the blocks. I've done enough sewing. So this was, you know, a little time consuming because I was building 1 block at a time. I couldn't do chain piecing and all that stuff. But I think it came out so good. I hope it continues to come out good. I will be putting them together, and as soon as that's done, you will see it on the bed. And this will be a penny auction on eBay, so go look down below. You know what else I think I might do this time? Just for the hell of it, I might put these scraps. That's all the scraps that I have left over. There's some good pieces here. Look, some strips. This one's just barely been used. And, you know, some nice pieces. Like that and that and this. I don't know why I did that, but I did. This is a whole brand new strip and some narrow strips, and even the is my mother calling me? I think she is. I'll give you the salvage too. It's a big one. Let me go see what she wants. She's hungry. Okay, just wanted to let you know this is going to be on eBay too, because I really don't have time to put all of these scraps together. And next time you see me, I will have this done and on the bed. Here it is. It is so pretty. I think it's the prettiest quilt top I've made yet. And I think it's so unique. What a cool way to use a fabric panel. All those blocks pop now. It's not like when the panel was just one piece. I mean, I just am so incredibly happy with how this turned out. And it's kind of almost square, and for some reason I like it for this one. I don't generally like square, but I don't know. To me, it just works with all those big blocks. Let me tell you the measurements. It's about 41 wide by 46 tall. And I know you saw close-ups of each block, but I will be showing you some close-ups, you know, as it is right now put together. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, I did a stay stitch around this one. I just went and sewed a line of stitching all the way around, just so those ends don't start to come apart. I know that, you know, by the time I ship it out to someone, it just, you know, things just like to come apart, even if it's just sitting there and not being touched. So you will see that. It's white. I tried to get really close to the edge, so it will get hidden in the seam allowance. Not putting a border on it. I didn't do any sashing. I did enough work on this. I wish I had more time to do things like this because I love the piecing part so much. Maybe while I'm chatting, I can, you know, just show you so many things. Where are my little specialties? My little crumb block right there. Where's the wonky? Where the heck is it? Oh, right here. The wonky tree is down there. I had so much fun with this. But it, you know, it did take a while. It wouldn't have to take this long, but I really put a lot of thought and effort into it. And I wanted to include small strips, you know, just to give little pops of color. And I did lay it down as I made the blocks so that I could try really hard not to have, like, you know, same colors touching everywhere. And I think it just came out so cool. And then I did use some of those little strips. Where? Like right here was that strip I showed you at one point that I said I was just going to use it as a strip, and I did that. Where's another one that was just some little beige? Okay, here's one strip. It was only, I don't know, maybe not even an inch wide, and I actually cut it in half and did those two little tiny strips. I'm trying to zoom in. And then there's a strip to the right side of that house block. That was also a little tiny scrap that I wanted to include. Some of these blocks are wonky. Some of the strips are wonky because it's not possible for me to do all perfect sewing, everything straight. The still shots that I took of each individual block that you see in this video and also on the TikTok video, those are unusually bright for some reason, either the settings on my camera or the editing or whatever. But, you know, they're not like glowing bright like they appear to me. They might not look like that on your screen, whatever you're using, but they do on mine. So just to let you know, this is really kind of like subtle, and I couldn't be happier with that mottled red and gold that I just, you know, had on my table, and it was perfect with this. I loved the prints that I used. I just think it looks so cool. It almost looks like a scrap Christmas quilt top. I hope that you like it. I'm sure there are flipped seams on the back. Probably not all the seams are flipped, but I'm sure there are some, probably enough to make it like look like a not professional job. And I always mention these things because, like I said, this is going to be on eBay, and I don't want you to think you are getting pure perfection here. It starts at a penny with free shipping. I just love it so much. Oh, and guess what? I'm doing TikTok, and I started by uploading just a little quick video as a sneak peek to others of the blocks being built, and that is super fun. Skylar is on TikTok too. I started talking about it, and she had just started a TikTok account, so we're both doing TikTok. I will link down below to our TikTok accounts. Please follow us both. That would be much appreciated. I am going to have fun with that. I'm going to do some old clips of videos that Skylar and I have done together, and I'm also going to start doing some of those silly dances and all the things that people do on TikTok. I'm all excited about that. Stick around for the little slideshow. I will show you close-ups of this quilt top. All the links you need are down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye!